on, everybody? This is another episode of
Winner Circle TV.
I'm Yanni.
My name is Kevin.
And we are
Winner Circle.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of Winner Circle TV. Once again, I'm Yanni.
My name is Kevin.
And today we are on another episode of our interview series of Winner Circle TV, Straight Goals, No Chaser. And today we have a very special guest.
Serena. Hello.
Miss Serena out here. Miss Serena, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am Serena Dena on Facebook and Instagram. I've known these guys since elementary school, very long time. I am a financial literacy coach, also a life coach, specializing in credit restoration. So I help a lot of people get their life back together. Credit happens to a lot of us. We don't understand how it works. It's something that we should learn in school, but we don't. So yeah, that's what I do.
All right. Now, you say you do credit repair now, credit restoration, all that kind of stuff. Is that something that you always wanted to do, or is that something
No, I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
I still work a full-time job, first of all. Let me just preface that. Sometimes being an entrepreneur, you have to balance it out until you get to that stable place. But I kind of fell into it because I had bad credit at one point, and I didn't know how to fix it. There wasn't a lot of resources. My parents didn't really understand it themselves to be able to tell me. They just knew that they made it enough to be able to get a house and get a car, but it wasn't necessarily with good interest rates. So when I found myself in that space, I got online. Thank God for social media, and we can Google everything nowadays. Right. So I reached out to someone. I had a conversation with her, very transparent talk, and I told her what I had going on, and I explained what I had happening. And she's like, okay, well, you can probably go around where you can work on your credit. You can also turn it into a business too. And she told me how I could do that, and that's what I chose to do. So it's kind of turned into a purposeful thing that I didn't even realize was going to happen.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
So, before that, what kind of work did you do, or what was your passion growing up?
Well, I'm in human resources now, and I fell into that as well. That was not the plan. I went to school for criminal justice, and not in my field at all.
Oh, wow.
But I did minor in sociology, so still working with people, and I did kind of use the law side of it to a degree with human resources. Mm-hmm. But I'm a certified life coach as well, and that was my passion. I like working with people. A lot of times we have backstory issues that kind of prevent us from being great, but we don't know what those blockages are. And before, long time ago, like probably back in middle school, I've learned that, you guys know, I was very quiet to myself. I wasn't a very social person, but people listened to me. I'm kind of influential, which it took me a minute to accept that. I wasn't really comfortable with that for a while, but people listen. So I kind of turned that into something that could be productive. Again, when you go through life experiences, you don't know who you'll be blessing along the way, or how you can use your experiences to help people. Mm-hmm. So same thing. I decided to go get my certification and trying to figure out how I can help other people learn things that I've learned over time, and I kind of are in combining it with what I do in financial literacy, because again, a lot of people have bad relationships with money but just don't know it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, this is a little side story. Like, and growing up, you were always popular, but you were quiet. Like, it was weird, but like I guess it was because when you did talk, you said something that mattered.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's not like, people talk all day and won't be saying anything, and then you'll sit back and you'll be chilling, and then when it's time to say something, you'll say it, and it makes so much sense. So in a way, that's like quality over quantity, because you talk when it mattered, not just to fill it here.
Yeah, I try to. I'm a big listener. I feel like you learn a lot when you just listen. You kind of miss stuff when you're the one always talking. Mm-hmm. So you learn by just listening, observing the room. So that's just something I've always done. I never considered myself as popular though, but news to me. But,
come on, Serena.
No, I really didn't, because I was so quiet. People knew
knew
me because I was an athlete, or they knew me from music or something, but I didn't talk a lot, so I didn't see myself as popular.
Everybody knew who you were. Come on.
I did. Say that, I did.
But no, that's good though that you were able to find something that involved your passion, even if it wasn't exactly what you wanted to do. So I do like that. And so you started with the credit restoration and repair and everything. Was it easy finding clients, or was it like a grind? Or how did you have to go about that?
No, it was a grind.
Yeah,
It was a grind because you're dealing with people social, so you have to build that relationship.
That's true.
I do have a big network prior to getting started in this, but I had to prove that one, I was ready for it. So it was a lot of grinding. It was a lot of social media usage. I was always posting. I was always reaching out to people, and then I had to get out of my comfort zone because again, like you said, I was quiet. I was very shy, so I had to get out of my comfort zone of doing events and going out and talking to people. So yeah, it was a slow churn at the beginning. Yeah.
okay. So what would you say was your like turning point? Like what did you do or what happened to where you were like, you know what? I can do this. Like this is my thing.
I think when I made it about other people and not about me. Because we need this. A lot of people need this. I've talked to all age ranges. People that are in their 50s and 60s and never owned a home. Or people that are our age and just don't know what to do. So I made it about them, which I could. Once you make it about other people, it's no longer about you, so you don't worry about what's comfortable, you don't worry about what feels good, like you get away from all of that. So once I tapped into that, it got a little easier.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good, man. And so, like, just talk about the importance of credit, like, because, like you said, a lot of people don't know any better. Like, they'll just not even think about their credit at all. So, just tell them the importance of it, what you can do with it, what you can't do without it.
Oh man, it's very, very important, especially nowadays, because unfortunately America is run off of credit. You can have cash, but you're not going to get that far with cash, and you're going to waste a lot of money when you don't have to. Credit gives you the ability to leverage what you can be trusted with is basically how credit works. So it's like you're just showing that you can responsibly spend things, but let's be honest, our other demographics, that's what they do. They just pay their bills on credit to build that up. They put everything in their credit name until they establish businesses, and then they put things in their business name, and it continues to rotate like that so they can have their cash to use for other things. So you hold on to your money, leverage your credit to get everything else, and then just take care of that. So it's very important, but it also comes down to how you spend your money, because you can't have credit without having a good understanding of your finances. So if you're blowing a lot of cash on unnecessary stuff, if you're running up your credit cards, your credit usage is too high, and you're not paying it back down, it's a mindset thing. Your credit comes down to your mind. How do you think about money? Your credit cards, first of all, is not another line of income. You're not supposed to use it that way. It's for a purpose. Your credit is for a purpose. So just try to be mindful of that. For example, nobody tells you that when you pay out, like let's say you had a car payment. When you pay off your car payment, nobody tells you to call whoever your lease is through and tell them not to close it on your credit. Why not? If you allow them to close it, your score is going to go down. 35% of your credit score is based off of your payment history. So once they close that out on your credit, it's no longer adding to your credit, so it's going to go down. Nobody tells you this. So any loans that you have open outside of your mortgage, you want to leave it open so that your credit will stay balanced. Nobody tells you this.
I did not know that.
Right. Exactly.
At all.
Exactly. Or like with your credit cards. So let's say you had a store card, an old Victoria's Secret card, and you don't use it. If you close that, again, your score is going to go down. Even if you don't use it, don't close it, because you're cutting all that payment history that you paid over time.
So if you just pay it off and they close it off, then it's like it never existed on your credit.
Pretty much. It's going to show that you paid it. It's not going to show a balance. It's not going to add to your current debt. But yeah, you're cutting all of that history.
Oh,
that's
man.
crazy.
Yes.
I knew about this about 12 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know like your credit score is important. But what makes up your score? I know you said like there's of course your debt and all that. But like you said, also important is the history.
Yes.
So like what all together makes your credit score?
Okay. So 35% of it is your payment history. So of course, stuff that you've been paying on time, which is why your paying stuff on time is very, very important. The one time you miss a payment, depending on the weight that it has on your score, that can drop your points 50 to 100 points right there. So, missing payments is extremely important. So you want to automatic draft if you can, or just set up a schedule for yourself so you don't miss payments. 30% of your score is the length of your history. So again, that's why you don't want to close accounts. So some I know I did. I got a credit card when I was in college, and I allowed that to build over time. Now I messed up and I closed it in 2018. So that 8 years of history was now gone. So of course my score went down because 30% is how long you've had stuff in your name. So, you want to keep stuff steady. Again, don't close stuff if you don't have to. Leave it open so that you keep it steady. And then the rest of it is just, what do you have in your name? Like, do you have a good balance of things? So you want to have installment credits, which would be your credit cards. And then you want to have your loans. So, car payments or furniture loans or student loans, mortgage. You want to have a good balance of both. And then just maintain them. That's pretty much it.
So it's good to have something revolving, but also something termed. Like that's because I'm a banker, so we use terms like that. Versus like term loans, which have in, and then there's revolving that once you pay it off, it's there for you to use again.
Yes.
And I think that's the trap people get into, is like they think I can use it now and I'll pay it off later, and then once they finally pay it off, they go and do the same thing over again.
Right.
So what would you say?
Or people get private loans to pay off old debt, which you just wiped out all the history that you had there, and now you have this private loan that's brand new. So you're starting that over, and then depending on how long you keep that private loan, you really didn't add to the history of your score. So it can be a double-edged sword. So I don't recommend that people get private loans to pay off things because it doesn't help your score wise, and it will help with debt.
I recommend you get a private loan.
Of course, he's a banker. Of course. That helps him, but it doesn't necessarily help you, depending on what you're trying to do. Like, if it's a situation where it's like a debt to income situation where you just want to lower your debt, then of course. But if it's something where you're going to need your credit, I wouldn't recommend it.
So, not trying to defend my career or anything, but
no, she just shot you down, dog.
Right.
No personal loans, Biani.
Say we were to get like a debt consolidation loan from a bank or something like that. Wouldn't it be okay if you just kept it open even after you paid it, like you said, to keep those loans open?
It depends on the purpose. It depends on what you're trying to do. If it's a debt to income situation, then it may. If you have a good balance of other things that will be able to keep your credit afloat when you start paying stuff off. But if that's not the case, which most people that's not the case, it's going to do more damage than good.
Dang.
So it depends, and that's something that I like, and I try to make sure that I'm very transparent in my conversations with people because it's very personal and it's very uncomfortable. A lot of people get embarrassed, which you shouldn't be, because bad credit happens to everybody, and you have a lot of background stuff that goes into it. So the best thing that you can do is just be honest. Check your credit every so often, at least once every 6 months, so you know what's going on with it. Well, that's another thing that we do. We don't check our credit until we need it, but by that time it's late. You haven't had time to really work on it, but you didn't know. So check it once every 6 months, and then be honest. When you reach out to somebody, tell them what you have going on. It's the worst thing in the world when I'm working with somebody and they didn't tell me that they had a whole eviction on there. Like, you didn't disclose that. So
that was important,
exactly. So be honest, and then you know exactly what it is that you need to attack, and then work from there.
Gotcha. Now, there was something you posted on social media earlier, comparing the different credit scores, the FICO, Advantage, and all that. So, just explain to everybody what that is, what the best one to go by is.
So your FICO score is normally what they use to evaluate you on things. So when you're trying to buy a car, they're going to use your FICO score. When you're trying to get a house, they don't really look at your FICO score. It's more so a combination of the three, or like an average of the three. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do, but your FICO score is more so used in Advantage score. However, I have said or read that that's going to change. The Advantage score is going to start being just as important as the FICO score is, so we have to look out for that, which life as we know it is about to change in the financial world. Life as we know it is about to shift. For example, what I mean by this, I had a networking call with some of my people, and she sells insurance in, where is she? Is she in Detroit? I think she's in Detroit. And she told us that they passed a new law to where if you tested positive for COVID, they have now evaluated that as a pre-existing condition.
Wow.
So now you can't get life insurance, or it's going to be higher if you at one point tested positive for COVID. And they've done that because COVID, you will have symptoms from COVID 6 months to a year after testing negative if you've had it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So everything, as we know, is shifting.
Wow.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
that's
Crazy.
good to know.
Yeah. So you got to
Good
be
to know
careful.
ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to your business. Was there anything that you like? Was there like a struggle that you had to go through, or was it all smooth sailing to get to where you are?
No.
You know,
Man.
talk about what.
Owning a business would definitely grow you. You have to grow a lot to be a business owner. And then for me, I'm in network marketing, which that in itself is,
That's
you
a
gotta
struggling
grow because
industry.
you're constantly dealing with people. Even in your business, you're constantly dealing with people. But when you're in network marketing, like, you are building yourself and everybody around you. So it's layers to it. So it has been not necessarily a struggle, but it's definitely been challenging because, again, when you are a business owner, you learn about yourself. You learn your weaknesses. You learn your insecurities. All of that kind of stuff comes to the surface. So it's definitely been. I've had to grow. You have to develop because every new level of success, it requires a new you. That's something else that I've learned. You cannot be the same and expect to get a positive outcome. So yeah, you have to grow for sure. So it's been a journey, and again, how I'm speaking now, and I'm kind of open. Again, you heard it from him. I was not this way, so I've had to learn to get comfortable with my own story, to be able to be open and honest with people. I've had to learn how to get out of my comfort zone and get in front of a room. Like, it's been a journey. Yeah.
Wow. I was just gonna say that too, like, having to grow out of your shell.
Yeah.
I know that was tough because at one point, like I said, you would just be in the back with your headphones and chilling, and then, now for you to be up in front of people, like hundreds of people at a time, just speaking, like, that's an amazing journey for you. So, I'm proud of you for that. For sure.
Thank you. And y'all too. I'm glad that we stay connected after all of this time. And that's the thing. You got to talk to people because you never know how it'll come full circle. Elementary school friends now turn network entrepreneurs in the same circle. So, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, man. So, like, now that you're in the field, like, you've been here for some years now, would you consider yourself successful, or is there still like a level that you like to reach, or how would you define your success? Put it that way.
Wow, that's a loaded question. No, I don't think I'm successful quite yet. Only because there's always something else to learn. Once you hit certain goals, you're going to make new ones.
True.
I have not reached the money amount that I would like to make, so that's number one. But I think success is going to differ for everybody. I think for me in particular, success to me looks like when you see your purpose fulfilled. Like when you start to see, the point of it actually come to fruition. That's a level of success. Like for me, when I'm working with people and eventually at the end of the tunnel, they really do get their house, to me, that's success. Like it works. Like I, was able to help them get what they came to me for. So that's one level. But the second level is when you are solid within yourself, because when you get to a space where work becomes fun, to me, that's a level of success. Because if you're just in it and you're not enjoying it, eventually you're going to burn out. So if you make fun in it and you find it enjoyable, to me, that's a level of success. So it's different levels for me. Two of those things I think I've hit so far, but the money part of it, I'm still working on that.
That's gonna come.
And then when you're solid within yourself, a lot of outside things don't affect you. Because when you're in certain industries, there's always going to be somebody you can compete against. There'll always be somebody that's better than you, or somebody that will try to test you. For example, we were talking about this before we got on camera, and I was saying that when you become a business owner, you learn that every person is not your customer. Regardless of what you're selling or what you're exposing people to, everybody is not your customer, because everybody is not going to take to what it is that you're giving, and that's okay. So you don't take it personal, don't get in your feelings, but some people will try you, okay? They will try you. I had one guy, and I've known him since college. He's been around a long time. And he was telling me how he wants to work on his finances, he wants to work on his credit. Now, mind you, he works at a bank. So you already understand the concept to begin with, right? His credit is in like the 500s. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I done gave him all this free information, helping him get through stuff before I even started his process, right? And then he tells me, oh, well, now when you tell a person your price, stand on it. Don't negotiate your price unless you want to. Okay? Because again, everybody is not your customer. Sure. And they are paying for your knowledge. So if you believe in the value that you have, stand in that, right? So he tells me, oh, well, that's too much. Mind you, he had just told me how he blew a bag on homecoming.
Wow.
So you can blow money on homecoming, but you're not willing to invest that same money into working on your credit and getting the house.
That's probably why he's in the situation he's in.
Exactly. So that everybody is not your customer, and that's okay.
That's right.
Wow.
I really like that. I wanted you to get that in there somehow. I don't know. We're going to make that happen.
I had to learn that.
That is a gem.
When I tell you I was hot. I was hot. But my mentor, she was like, girl, that's just another lesson. You did your part. Mm-hmm. You gave him the information. You exposed it to him. That's all you can do. The rest is on him. That's why it comes down to your mindset. What do you really want? Are you willing to make sacrifices for what you say you want?
That's right. And I think that's important for people that's up and coming to know that, you know, everybody's not, you don't have to bend to the will of everybody else to make yourself successful.
Please don't, because people gravitate to authenticity. So please don't remain. So at the beginning when you're building, you probably will. You'll give a lot of stuff out for free, or you'll cut a lot of discounts because you're getting your name out. Mm-hmm. But then once you get to a place where you get that confidence in yourself and you know that you have something great, stand in that and be okay with it. Because people that are meant for you are going to pay the price. Do they not pay for Nikes? Do they not pay for Jordans regardless how expensive they are?
They sure do.
Did people not blow a bag on their PS5?
They sure did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
For sure. Now, is there anything else you wanted to add or say to the people?
No, I don't think so. I hope that everybody is taking advantage of the pandemic. You have a lot of downtime. So if you are really being productive with that time, spend time with yourself. Figure out what it is that you want to do. Get in tune with yourself so that you can figure out what your purpose is. Because I get that a lot. Like, how do I know what my purpose is? Like, what does that even feel like? How do you pick up on it? So take time to get to know yourself and get better. Invest in yourself. Read books. Attend webinars. Talk to people. Move around in your network so you can see who has something to offer you. And pay attention to your finances. Check on it. Because when I tell you 2021 is going down, there's going to be so many foreclosures. I'm so not.
Yeah, I already see them now.
Yes.
It's crazy out there.
It's bad. A lot of people are going to be losing their cars because people are out of work. So just look at your finances. Figure out what it is that you can do from home. Or figure out how you can establish new lines of income. If you have extra money, don't blow it. Invest it. Because you may need it later. If you don't have life insurance, please get some. We don't want to do GoFundMe. That's not cute because we know better. Excuse me.
That's right.
We know better. So get life insurance. So just try to be more mindful, be more aware, and pass the information. When you learn something, teach one. Reach one to teach one. That's what I say. That's my motto now. Reach one to teach one. So once you learn something, spread it. Tell people. Don't hold on to gems because we all need it.
I like that. Hey. So I ask all of our interviewees the same question. What is your motivation?
What is my motivation? Initially my motivation was to work on my own credit. Was to do something to where I was working 2 jobs. I'll give you my story, how I even found this. I had moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was working 2 jobs. Mm-hmm. I had just had a car accident. I was 10 months from paying that car off, y'all. When I tell you my feelings was hurt. 10 months from paying it off, totaled it. Ended up burnt up from the airbag, hit me in the face. So I had burns from my nose down. Oh, wow. The seatbelt, I had a big bruise from the seatbelt snatching me, so it was a whole situation. And then, of course, I had to get another car because Charlotte is like a mini Atlanta, so it's a lot of traffic, so you have to have a reliable vehicle. Went to the car dealership. As we know, you go to the car dealership, they run it through several different banks, so your score's going to drop again because now you have all these inquiries sitting there. So it dropped again. So before I knew it, I was in the high 500s, and I just was trying to figure out what can I do. So at that time, my motivation was to do something where I could quit that second job because I was tired. I wasn't seeing nobody, so I wanted my life back, and I wanted to work on my credit. So that was the motivation at that time. But when I got into it and I started having conversation with people and seeing just how ignorant we are to how stuff really works because we don't know. Exactly. Nobody's telling us. And not to mention, the older generations, they paid cash for everything. They didn't use credit back in the day. It wasn't a very prevalent thing. So they just don't know. So that became my motivation, was just getting the information to the masses. Learning as much as I could so that I could put the info out there. And then from there, it is kind of personal because I'm not a mother yet. However, I have 10 nieces and nephews. So now I'm on them like, okay, y'all have to be better than me. So I need you. You get jobs early. I had a job at 15.
Right.
So what are you doing with your money after all that time? Like if you, for example, when I talk to people and they say, oh, Serena, I can't get started on my services for 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to give you tough love for a second. If you don't have the money to work on your credit, there's a problem. If you're working 40, 50, 60 hours and you don't have money to put into yourself, that's an issue. So that's now the motivation is to change the mindset, change the thinking. Gotcha. And I'm on myself about that. Like now, like everything that I'm learning now, I'm on my butt and I'm on everybody's behind because you'll be surprised. Like it's one of those things that you don't talk about.
That's true.
We discuss what's happening on Love and Hip Hop. You can Google everything, but we don't discuss those important things. Like my aunt, she passed away last summer. She has 5 children. Nobody had life insurance on her. Why? So now we're all collecting money to be able to bury her. Why? Like, how did that never come up in conversation?
Wow.
We get together all the time, especially in our community. Thanksgiving, we see each other. Christmas, we see each other. Somebody gets married, we see each other. Why? How does that never come up? So that's the motivation, is to change the conversation. And yes, it can be morbid. It can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. So that's my motivation, is to change the way things are going right now, which is another reason why I chose to go the route that I went, is because we also have a nonprofit, which is a Youth Financial Literacy Foundation, where we teach kids. So we go into school, educate kids from ages 8 to 18, and we give scholarships every year. Oh. I have student loans. Had I known about this. Okay.
Right.
So I'm steady putting that out there. Like, listen, even if you choose to go to college, now you don't even have to go to college if you don't want to. If you're not trying to be a lawyer or an attorney or something where you need it, that's not even a thing like that anymore. But if you choose to go, take all the money you can get, please. That's right. Because those student loans, a lot of people die with student loans. So if you don't have to, don't do it. So that's the motivation, is to just change how we do things currently.
I like that, man. So do you have a website or social media or anything that you want to plug?
Yes, so you can contact me as Serena Dena, as I said, on Facebook, or Serena_Dena on Instagram. My website is long, but my website, you can access them both on both platforms. Again, I'm a certified life coach, so you're going to be drawing up my website soon for that, to combine all of it. And I have a YouTube channel. Oh. I have not posted in a long time, though. So I'm going to get back into that. That is the mission for 2021, is to get that back going. So that'll be January is the target date for that. And yeah, but you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome.
There it is, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming to see us again, Serena. It's a pleasure having you.
Yes, we're definitely going to have you back on.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Putting a young black entrepreneur on the map, married men with children and all.
Yeah.
Yes, love it.
Oh, we appreciate it again, man. Much love to you. We wish you all the success.
Back to you.
And this has been another edition of
One Circle TV.
Subscribe and like.
Hey, there you go.
See, you haven't done a YouTube channel in a while, you said.
I'm going to get there. Y'all pray for me. Get there.
Straight goals, no changes, you guys.
All right.
Peace.